Hello, today I'm making the third video and this one today just shows you what's attached to what to make the loom, floor standing loom work. So Finlandia varpapuu floor standing loom is the one that I've got, and we've done the little tour around it, so we'll get straight to it. Now I'm going to come round to the back of the loom because I think you'll get a better view from this angle. Okay, so from here, this outside piece, this frame up here, if you remember, is called the castle. Inside the castle, these are the jacks, these pieces of wood on either side of the castle. And then in the middle, we've got the York, which comes down that Y section there. And then this is the shaft, this section that goes across here. These two battens, they are the shaft that goes across. And then the next, we come down to the upper lambs, which are these ones here, and down to the lower lambs, which sit underneath the upper lambs. And then we have the treadles, which sit on the floor. So I'm going to do this from the floor up and then backwards so that you can see where I'm coming from. I'm just going to go on the inside. There we go. So we've got the treadles on the bottom of the loom here. The ones that sit on the floor aren't in use with this particular pattern, so they just sit there. And then the ones here in the middle are slightly raised because they are in use at the moment. So the treadles on the bottom are attached to the lower lambs. There's nothing else attached to the treadles at all, apart from this back piece which holds all of the treadles. But there's nothing in the tie-up, nothing tied to the treadles apart from the lower lambs. So that's that piece. Now the next section is the lower lambs. So these are the first ones from the floor that you will come to. So the lower lambs are attached to the treadles, but they're also attached to the Y section that is at the top, that is attached to the jacks. So this comes all the way through the loom. It's not attached to anything, it's just floating, it just hangs there, and then it comes all the way down and is attached in the middle there. That's one of them. That is a York, but it's attached to the lower lambs as well as the lower lambs being attached to the treadles. So that's it. That's where the York goes to, the lower lamb. That's it. It doesn't get attached to anything else at all. So we'll come back up. Now these are the upper lambs, and the upper lambs are attached to the bottom batten of the shaft. That's all they're attached to. They're not attached to anything else at all. So that's lift one up, see? So it's not attached to anything else at all. So just that. The bottom of the shaft isn't attached to anything apart, well, there are two things. It's attached to the heddles that sit on the upper shaft. So this comes through the heddles and then is sorry, I've just confused myself. Just give me a second. Yeah. So that's it. So it's attached to the upper lamb. So the upper lamb's attached to the bottom of the shaft batten. And then the bottom of the shaft batten is also attached. It hangs there via the heddles, which then attach to the top of the shaft. And then the heddles sit there. So, and then the top batten of the shaft is attached to the jack on the outside. That's it. So the Y section at the top goes right the way down to the lower lamb. And the outer section of the jacks attached to the shaft. The top of the shaft is where the heddles are hung. The heddles support the bottom piece of the shaft. And then we'll pop underneath. And then we go from the upper lambs, which are hung from the bottom of the shaft, so here, and then the lower lambs, which are hung from the Y section of the yoke, and then the lower lambs hang the treadles on the bottom. So everything supports in its own way, but not everything supports everything else, if that makes any sense. I hope it does. It's getting to know your loom is the main thing, and that's what takes the time of figuring out how it works, why it works. That's the thing with the countermarsh balanced looms, is everything works for a reason. If I put my hand down here on treadle 1, that goes down, and then on the inside that would be pulling down on the lower lamb, which will be raising the upper lamb, which will be raising the shaft, which will be lowering the middle part of the Y section, the yoke, because the yoke is attached to the lower lamb, which is that piece down there. I hope that makes sense. Tried to do it as easily as I can. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you for watching.